The Canadian Automobile Association is back with its list of worst roads. And there's a familiar one to Hamilton drivers. Tina Wong is with the CAA of South Central Ontario. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So it's been 17 years for this survey, and you're back after a one-year hiatus. And it's important that you're back. This really makes an impact, or I hope it does, in terms of shaming municipalities and fixing the damn roads. Has it helped over these years?
Well, that's definitely our intention, to ensure that municipalities are able to understand a snapshot of what public perception is about the roads that are not meeting their expectations. We use this CAA Worst Roads campaign to open a dialogue with municipalities as well as the province to ensure that funding for roadway improvements are consistent to ensure that quality and safety is maintained.
And actually, we have seen that at work in Hamilton. But before we get to that, let's get to our winner or loser, the worst road in Ontario. Tina, take it away.
The 2021 CAA Worst Road in Ontario is Victoria Street in Prince Edward County.
Yeah.
So a lot of people told us that there are lots of potholes and crumbling pavement, as well as a lack of walking infrastructure on the street. I have spoken to Mayor Ferguson, and he told me that even prior to this spring's campaign, the council was aware of Victoria Road and has prioritized it for repairs in addition to its ongoing maintenance. So the residents and users of Victoria Road can rest assured that Prince Edward County is on it.
See, right there, the list works. How is it compiled, by the way, and what is the criteria? You mentioned potholes, but congestion comes into it as well?
Yeah, so a worst road can be the worst road because of really anything that gets in the road user's way of getting from point A to point B. Most popular are potholes and crumbling pavement, which is no surprise given the freeze-thaw cycles from the winter to the spring that we experience here in Ontario. But traffic congestion also is a very significant factor that people tell us are something that they feel like contributes to a worse road. Other factors include lack of cycling infrastructure, lack of walking infrastructure. Sometimes there's poor or confusing signage, and so on and so forth.
Okay, let's get to the our part of the world in the top 10 list. So number 2 was Carling Avenue in Ottawa. Number 3, yes, a familiar one, Barton Street East in Hamilton. Actually, a couple of years back, Barton Street East was a back-to-back winner or loser at the top of the list.
Yes, so Barton Street East, we know, is a very, very important thoroughfare through the city of Hamilton. It crosses the entire city, spanning 21 kilometers. On the west end, there's a hospital. On the east end, there's commercial and industrial properties and lots of residential in between and throughout this 21-kilometer length. So it's a very, very important thoroughfare in the city with lots of traffic and lots of different kinds of vehicles that use that road surface. There's lots of reasons that people told us that they were wanting to have Barton Street East fixed, but by far the most popular complaint was potholes and crumbling pavement.
Yeah. Have you seen a change with the pandemic and the lighter volumes or different volumes, different roadways? Have different roads popped up on the list this year?
The pandemic has certainly changed the makeup of our top 10 worst roads list in Ontario. We've seen kind of the very popular urban arterials drop off the list, and we've seen an increase of local community roads that are taking their spots on the top 10 list. We think this has to do, of course, with repairs and the ongoing maintenance that happens. But most importantly, we think it's because the pandemic has fundamentally changed mobility patterns for lots of people in the province. People know that they need to limit their mobility. They've been working from home, teleworking. They've been limiting their trips to essential ones only and staying close to home, shopping locally. And so they're just seeing different roads on their regular commutes. And we think that's attributable to why the makeup of the CAA Top 10 Worst Road list provincially this year looks a bit different.
Yeah, and but thanks, by the way, you've compiled, just before we go, I'll wrap up with Hamilton's top 5. So Barton Street East, Burlington Street East, Aberdeen Avenue, Main Street West, Main Street East, and Osler Drive. Thanks, it's an important service putting this together. Thanks for joining us, Tina Wong. Have a bump-free day.
Thank you, you too.